Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and I'm going to do your May the 29th Spiritual Principle a Day in a Meditation. Hope you're having a wonderful morning. Let's go ahead and get into that meditation and see what we have. Okay. All right. The title of this meditation today is Vigilance for the Long Haul. Many of us leave not when things are horrible, but when we have one more spiritual hump to get over. We lose our way right before the miracle, sometimes again and again. That comes from the Living Clean book, Chapter 1, Growing Pains. Most of us have heard the saying, don't leave before the miracle happens. For newcomers, that can mean staying in a meeting even when the urge to leave feels like more than we can handle. After a little time clean, it might mean taking one more phone call from the sponsee who hears nothing we say, or choosing not to react when our boss or significant other pushes our last button again and again and again. But how do we get there? How does the newcomer stay in the seat when everything in them screams, get up, get out of here? How does the sponsor dig deep and offer experience, strength, and hope to the troubled sponsee instead of just sighing deeply and asking, have you prayed about it? How do we shift our focus from the momentary frustration of an argument to the fulfillment we experience in our relationship or career? Let me reread that last sentence for you. Question: how do we shift our focus from the momentary frustration of an argument to the fulfillment we experience in our relationship or career? It's easy to do the right thing when things are going well, when we're getting what we want or think we deserve. Sometimes, though, the rewards might seem minimal or feel like they're taking forever to arrive. Some members have described recovery as being a marathon, not a sprint. Marathoners call it hitting the wall, that point in the race when it feels impossible to keep going and there's no end in sight. It happens in recovery too. We live by these principles for months, years, even decades, but some of our hopes and dreams still seem to be out of reach. We can't even see the finish line yet, and we are tired. We have to remember that there is no finish line in a Just for Today program. We're not here for the reward at the end. We keep the pace, even if it's slow and steady. We keep moving forward, whether we feel like it or not. We might need to stop at an aid station for runners. A cup of cold water or sports drink every couple of miles makes it possible to go the distance. In recovery, coffee or tea with another addict can get us over that next spiritual hump to the miracle on the other side. When I feel like quitting, I'll take a moment to remember that recovery is a journey, not a destination. I will be vigilant and keep moving forward. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. Well, I don't really know what to say about this meditation. I feel such an energy between the two meditations today. With this meditation, I feel like a lift in my spirit, a lift in my energy, a lift in my resolve to go out and jog. Oh my goodness. I feel a lift in my spirit to get up and get moving and do something that is beneficial for me over the long haul. Now, the thing is that we all have heard it said, don't leave before the miracle happens. What does that mean? In the moment, in your just for the day, I would say that would mean whatever it is I'm hoping for, whatever it is that I'm having faith for, believing for, desiring to see happen, don't leave before the miracle happens. And a lot of times it's not the physical leaving. If you've been here a while, you know that you may be in a meeting and you just feel, okay, they have no control here. The meeting is not an atmosphere of recovery. And so that I'm not out of pocket and being disruptive, let me just leave, right? Let me just go because the chairperson has absolutely no control over this meeting. Like they're not handling it in a manner that is conducive to the atmosphere of recovery. All right, letting people cross share, snipers share, airing their dirty laundry in the meeting in their share. And yeah, so no, that's not something that I would consider don't leave before the miracle happens. Now, I might hold out and share at some point in time, but by the same token, I need to figure out when I'm sharing, am I sharing to correct the meeting, correct the people in the meeting, correct the chairperson, or am I really sharing my experience, strength, and hope, which might also incorporate the chaoticness of that particular meeting? And am I going to share in a way that is adding to or at least increasing the atmosphere of recovery? Because if I'm not, then I shouldn't bother, period. Point blank, I'm not getting ready to bother to share. If I got a whole lot of attitude, a whole chip on the left shoulder and a bigger chip on the right shoulder, and I'm trying to share something that is going to help the meeting reset, the best thing to reset a meeting is a moment of silence followed by the serenity prayer, period. When it's off pocket like that, that's the best thing to reset. Okay. So there's times where, as a newcomer, not leaving before the miracle happens means that you're fighting the urge to use and you need to be in a meeting. When we say 90 and 90, that's serious because it resets your whole habit, it resets your whole brain of what to expect out of you. So when you tell yourself, you know what, I'm not leaving before the miracle happens, I'm going to get this 90 and 90 if it takes everything in me, you're telling your brain, no, you're not about to run this. I am going to be successful in my recovery. I am not going to use drugs. And just because I'm obsessing over getting high, or the urge is still there, or I'm going through withdrawals, so I'm super temperamental. I don't care. I'm going to stay in this meeting. That's what that means for you. But it doesn't mean the same thing for everyone. It doesn't. And the point being is that the end goal, the end game, right? The destination in the concept of a marathon runner, sometimes they have to make stops along the way in order to get re-energized. For us, our stops along the way are our meetings, our interaction with other recovering individuals, our interactions with our loved ones that love us enough to have forgiven us for the harm that we've caused them, and they're still in our lives by choice, not in spite of. I remember this lady told me, I love you in spite of yourself. And I told her, honey, that's not no kind of love that I need. So you take that and give it to someone else, like some of them married men you sleeping with. Give that to them, because I don't need you to love me in spite of myself. Thank you very much, but keep it moving. So the point is that we come to a stage in our lives where we are able to appreciate the love that is being poured out to us. Family members that have forgiven us and said, you know what? I see what you're trying to do. I see you're trying to stay clean. And that's all that I ever wanted for you. No, I don't want you to pay me back for that television you stole to go get some dope, you to get some money for some dope. No, I don't want that. All I want is for you to make a living amends and continue your recovery. That might be your stop along the way, that you look at that relationship and you say, they are loving me genuinely because they want to, authentically, unconditionally, not in spite of myself, but they are loving me because they love me. And that could be the juice that you need. That could be your Gatorade. That could be your water along the journey of this long marathon of the thing that we call life. This is a very powerful meditation, because a lot of times I think that as addicts, we still have a tendency to look for instant gratification. And I know for a fact that the things that I value most, they're not instantly gratifying. They take time. Things that are important to me take time. This education piece is taking time. I can't tell you how many days I say to myself, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. You're going through all this. You don't have one cohort that you actually have a friendship with that is pouring into you and you're pouring into them. Because I am a person that is very serious about people treating other people properly, right? On my watch, it's very difficult to get away with being condescending, gaslighting, gossiping. It's very difficult to do that around me and think that I'm not going to comment. Okay. So the majority of the cohort that I go to school with, I'm not friends with them. Some of them we've had close interactions, but we recently had a situation come up where a whole internship supervisor has been let go of supervising our cohort because they're complaining about the way that she talks, the way that she teaches. And I'm not satisfied with everything that she has done, but I know for a fact that people are individual. And I would rather have a supervisor, and she has a doctorate. I would rather have a supervisor that can tell me, you need to stop cutting your clients short. Let them finish answering the question that you're asking them. Because if you're asking too many questions at one time, that means that you don't even know what you meant to ask to begin with. I'd rather have a supervisor be able to let me hear her speak and say what she has to say and speak into my goal, my dream, than sugarcoat it with me. But you know what? Most of those cohorts don't have recovery in their lives. They don't have what we have. So someone coming across like that, oh, that's too much. Cultural fragility. It's too much for them. And so they've constructed this whole thing, unbeknownst to me. I just show up to class and there's a whole new instructor, but they've been behind the scenes getting rid of this one particular instructor for however long it took for them to be able to pull it off. I have a problem with that. I'm not trying to befriend that. And I love the new instructor, and I see that she's quite a bit different, but they're doing the same thing to her that they have done to all these other instructors, except for the one that I'm talking about. And they're running over her. They're not on screen, all of these things. And I'm like, yeah, they finally got what they wanted. They got someone that they can lie to and do what they want. So, no, I'm not trying to have those individuals in my life on a day-to-day basis. I just want to get through this education piece. And so I'm showing up every week doing the education piece, but I don't feel a part of that, right? There's no warm, fuzzy feelings of cohesiveness. And so it makes it a struggle to endure 4 hours every Wednesday night with all of these same people. And I think to myself, I don't even care if I finish. But you know what? I do care. My finances care. My family cares. My God cares. I actually do care because I've invested every degree up until this point to this. And if other people can do it, I know that I can do it. I have some beautiful spirits in my life that have gone on to get their doctorate. And now I understand how hard the politics that a person has to endure to get that. So I understand how hard that is to actually get. And one of the stops that I make along the way to refuel, let me just say this and I'll let you guys go, okay? One of the stops that I have to make to get refueled, my Gatorade along the way, clearly is my step 11. However, it's this meditation. It's sitting doing this podcast. A lot of times very early in the morning, sometimes a little bit later than I care for, but I make sure that I show up to do it because it gives me the juice that I need. It's something about doing it, allowing myself to process the information, take my spiritual temperature, gauge myself on this journey every morning that we spend together. That is refueling for me. Unless I've had a surgery and am trying to recover from that, there's very rare few occasions where I finish this podcast and then I go lay back down or I go into self-pity. Very few times that I didn't get the juice or the energy that I needed to go on to get the boys up and get them to school, take them to the doctor, and still get to my internship, which is in a whole nother city by 9 a.m., knowing I'm not going to be done till 6 p.m., or knowing that I have to hurry up and rush back to pick up the little one that just broke his foot because he will not get on that bus now, right? So, yeah, I get what I need to get through life. And that's what we need to be thinking about. What does not leaving before the miracle happens mean for us individually? And where do we refuel along the way? Now, that story I told you about my cohorts, God forbid if any of them have subscribed, but if they have, that's fine. I'm standing on what I'm saying, and I believe in what I've said. But isn't that pitiful? That's sad. That's sad. So I hope the message or the lesson behind that story is that embrace those that are with you on your journey, because you might not be thinking that your offstandishness is hurting anyone, but I am personally devastated. I am injured by this cohort. and offended. But mostly what it did to me was make me think, if I am the only one that gets how she comes across, then if they can't stand her, then I can imagine that's why when I'm speaking or saying something, I get the responses that I get from my cohort. Because if they can't handle her, I know for certain as professional she is and how she carries herself, if they cannot handle her directedness, I know they have very little tolerance for me. I know. And so now I understand. And I think maybe that's where the injury came from, is because, oh, okay. That's why they never have anything to share back to me when I do my assignment in class. They don't really care for me, because if they don't care for her, and I'm very similar and I love how she communicates and teaches, then the common sense would tell me now, okay, I get it. So what I'm saying is that I don't want for us in recovery to treat people like that. Let us not treat people like that. Let us be the individuals. I almost have tears in my eyes. Let us be the individuals that when people are on their journey in this thing called recovery, let us be the individuals that have something to offer to help refuel. Let us be the A part of that therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. Let them be the B part. Let us be the A part, the A side, right? We're going to work and working with people, and we know they all drink and they all drug after work on the weekends, barely can carry out their responsibilities during the week. Let us be refreshing towards them in the interactions that we have, right? I never want anyone to, when my cohort is treating me, I don't want to treat people that way, because I think that is what sometimes is the deal breaker. I think that that level of rejection sometimes is what makes people bow out of life. And that's not what I'm about. I'm about peace, I'm about love, and I'm about life in service, goodwill towards humanity in general, or at least towards my community, right? My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. I know we have a lot to think about in that particular meditation, but it's been a beautiful one. I hope that you have a beautiful day on purpose. I intend to talk to you tomorrow.